It's an amazing song.
Just kind of happened. Took about 10 minutes, I guess.
Bart, you didn't write this song in 10 minutes. It took a lifetime. How'd you do this?
You know, I've never told anybody my story. When I was 11 years old, life was tough.
Where's Mama?
She's gone. She don't want me no more. And she don't want you neither.
And I've always loved music. And I found some songs that I held on to. They gave me hope.
Mercy me, that can't be his real voice.
Because I needed it.
Dad, I can do this.
No, you can't. And you're gonna blink your eyes and you're gonna realize that life has gotten you nowhere because you chased some stupid dream.
I'm leaving, Shannon.
I want you to know that I pray for you all the time. And I hope that you find whatever it is that you're looking for out there.
What are you running from?
My dad.
Then write about it. Let that pain become your inspiration.
I have some stuff I need to sort out.
And I deal with it the only way I know how. And that's to write a song.
You hungry? Set the table.
What is this?
I want to make things right with you and me.
My dad was a monster, and I saw God transform him.
You have a gift, real gift.
I didn't think that God could do that. And so I wrote this song for my dad.
Well, I'm joined now by Madeline Carroll, who plays Shannon in I Can Only Imagine. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was the first time you've done a faith-based project. Was it different?
Oh, it was very different. It was different the whole process, really, like from the audition and everything else that came afterwards. Just working with people of faith is a much different experience. Not that I haven't worked with lovely people before, but just very different in the aspect of like them telling me, like, you know, you're doing the right thing, not doing this, and you're doing the right thing, not doing that. And so that was very different. I've never really been told or reaffirmed that I was doing the right thing, other than truthfully at like church and places like that. Yeah. So to find it on a set was very, very special and very rare, and it was beautiful.
How did your role come about? How did you get the Shannon part?
So I was at a separate commercial audition, and they paired me up with this woman to be my mom, and she just so happened to know who I was, and she said, "Hey, you're Madeline Carroll, you're a believer, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "How does she know that?" And she said, "Yeah, you need to go out for that new movie, I Can Only Imagine." And I instantly thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing because I know the song. And so I called my manager and I was like, you have to get me in for this. I have to go in. The way it worked out, though, was with scheduling, as I ended up having to just go in for like a meet and greet rather than read the lines. So it was so God that it worked out that way, because I ended up getting in there and sharing my heart and talking about God for an hour before I ever showed them who I was as an actress.
I bet that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience right there.
100%. 100. Now I wish all auditions are like that. If they could just see my heart,
let's do that again.
Then I'll get it. So it really was such a God orchestrated thing, and so I got to talk to them all about the Lord. And when I left, I said to my mom, I was like, "Mom, I'm okay if I don't get this, because I know that one day I will work with these people," because I had never met, you know, other filmmakers who were trying to do what I was trying to do.
Yes.
So just not knowing, you know, that I was actually not alone, and everything just really blessed me. And
very encouraging.
So much.
You worked with some other award-winning actors in this film, Dennis Quaid being one of them. What was it like to work with him?
Oh my gosh, he actually was one of the people that I always growing up said that I had wanted to work with. So I, like a lot of people, was in love with The Parent Trap. So I grew up watching The Parent Trap and that version of Dennis Quaid. So when we got on set and he was playing this hardcore character, he's so lovely and just a gentleman. But seeing him like be so harsh, I was like, whoa, this isn't the one I knew. But just such a lovely person, and he's had such a beautiful experience himself with the film, and just has a beautiful testimony with it, and is beyond proud of it. You can really tell that this movie hit a place with him that maybe hasn't hit before.
What is it like for you when you spend a significant amount of time working on a project like this, and then you have the first screening? What did you feel like when you sat there and watched the whole thing for the first time?
I love that you asked me that, because I literally cried my eyes out, and I was sitting there at Greg Laurie's church. Was the first time I saw it, and I cried so hard. And I couldn't, first of all, I cried because it came out so beautiful and the movie moved me. But then on top of that, I just couldn't believe what God did for me.
Yes.
And so just to see it and see what he did in a year's time just wrecked me. I was just a wreck.
You get to read the script, but you don't ever, as an actor, get to see the whole thing put together until you have that screening, right? Which would be such a strange thing. Like, you're a part of it, but you never really see the shape of it until then. So I'm sure that would be very touching.
It was very different.
For people who are watching right now that haven't seen it yet, what do you want them to know the takeaway from your perspective of the film is?
Well, from my perspective, there's a lot of different messages in it. Every time I see it, I get a different message. But hope and forgiveness are the two main themes. But for me, I really just received the hope aspect of it, because Bart's story is very similar to mine in the aspect of hoping again, deciding to dream again and do something for God, and then doing something so beautiful with it. Yeah. And that's what happened with him. He wrote this song out of heartbreak and pain and sadness, and something so beautiful came of it. And look, this song is still has life years later. It's over 18 years old.
To come. Yes.
And now there's a film.
Yeah.
And so I just pray that the film does what the song did and just transcends and goes into mainstream as well as believers, because I really believe that it can, and that's the people that we need it to reach.
Yeah.
And so March 16th, everyone please see it and go.
Well, it must be challenging for you, Madeline. You've been trying to get work in Hollywood and other parts of the country where filming is being done for a long, long time. And if there's one thing that we all know about people who are in your business, is that it's filled with a lot of rejection and a lot of not getting what you want. Yeah. How have you sustained your faith through all of that and just kept knocking at the doors, showing up at cattle calls sometimes and just auditions?
Honestly, my faith in God just really, really got me through that. And I just got to a point where I was so much more in love with God than I was in love with acting. And it's all I knew. It's all I did my whole entire life. I was a little girl when I started. So I literally just got to this point where I surrendered it to God, and I just let my dream die before him. And I said, God, if this isn't what you want of me anymore, then I'm willing to walk away. It's going to break my heart, like I'm heartbroken. But if that's not what you have for me anymore, then I would rather have you. And so when I did that, God just really resurrected it and made something so beautiful of it. And he's just given me this amazing opportunity to share my heart with other people. And that's what's blessed me more than anything. You know, more so than saying, oh, you did a good job in the film. I like hearing people say, wow, what happened to you really touched me. And that's been the most rewarding thing I could have ever asked for. So.
Well, out of the death of a dream came the resurrection of God's purposes in a way that just can't be denied. I Can Only Imagine will be in theaters March 16th, as Madeline mentioned. Thank you for being with us. We'll all clap and pray and, and be there to support you, and want you to know the book also, I Can Only Imagine, is available wherever books are sold.